we'll switch gears now.
Interesting.
In a moment, and then we'll get the other side to this as we have Mr. Yunusa Tanko joining us right now via Zoom. Mr. Tanko, I know you've been following the conversation, and I'd like you to respond just frontally to some of the issues raised by Mr. Arabambi in the studio earlier on. So he's saying, on the one hand, that they are in charge of a party and they have a right to decide the kind of structure, which is why this directorate was introduced. And then he has exceptions, or he's taking exceptions to how Mr. Peter Obi is carrying on, plus other things he raised. Mr. Tanko, over to you now.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigeria. Let me quickly clear this particular air that I speak from Mr. Peter Obi and Datti Babame. It's an organization now agreed that the elections is out of the way, but I speak on their behalf. And then I have full authority at any time in which they want me to say one or two things about certain issues that concern their interests. That is by the side. And with regard to the party is very, very clear as regard to what leaderships are and who is in charge of the political party. Naturally, the chairman of the political party is the chairman of that political party. And it's very important to note that a political party is a public institution. In this case, the Labour Party was a creation of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the TUC. But it is a public institution. So no particular individual can say he owns it. It belongs to the public. And so therefore, every member of the party is as equal to the chairman as the case may be. The chairman may be in the saddle of leadership. You only direct according to the position of the constitution of the party, null and void. So anything that is done outside the constitution of the party is totally unacceptable. So in the creation of directorate whatsoever, it is the prerogative of the constitution which gives powers to the National Working Committee to create directorates. But the directors were very, very clear. It didn't give it the nomenclature of what it is called. It is Directorate of Mobilization, Information, and all of those particular directorates were clear. And that is where I was made the Director of Information on Media of the Labour Party as at the last time before the Innewi Convention. So these are clear. But when you say you are now giving a directive to a particular group of individuals, don't forget there are different groups of individuals that can join a political party. The constitution of the party also recognizes that groups can join the political party, individuals can join the political party. So what it simply means is that you can have a directorate for Unity Tanko group, you can have a directorate for Kayode's group, you can have a directorate for an Obidient. So it doesn't work like that. You can have only a directorate for mobilization, which is clear in the constitution of the party. So when His Excellency rejected that particular issue as regard to Obidient Movement giving a directorate, it insults the sensibility of the group, the Obidient group. Let me make a clarification. The Obidient Movement is an entity of its own, because what we believe is that every home in Nigeria has one person who is an obedient person. And let me explain further. An obedient movement is there are a group of people who are interested in good governance. Nothing more, nothing less. And then the messages of His Excellency Peter Obi resonated with this individual. And so what it was captured as an obedient movement.
But is the obedient movement bigger than Labour Party, Mr. Tanko? Is the obedient movement, is it bigger than the Labour Party?
Oh, far, far bigger. Far, far bigger.
It's bigger than the Labour Party.
It is.
So,
because it is a movement of its own that have a life of its own. What they are interested in is good governance. Even if the Labour Party is doing something that is wrong, they are ready to challenge it. Let me go further. Even His Excellency, if he does something that is not in line with good governance, the Obidient Movement will challenge it.
So you have you have strong reservations about that disclaimer issued by the presidential candidate saying that there's nothing like obedient directorate movement.
Yes, no, he said it very clear that you cannot. He said that the obedient movement cannot be under the auspices of the Labour Party. It's an independent movement of its own, demanding for good governance. It's not a request, they are demanding, because the youth of the Nigerian states have noticed that our leaders have failed them in every aspect of their dealings. And so therefore they continue to agitate and demand for the right thing to be done. And it is that particular connection, because of the statements and the positions of His Excellency Peter Obi, that have resonated with them, that connect them together.
So, Mr. Tanko.
And so they walk in that particular line.
My apologies. So, does it mean that Obedience, they are loyal to Mr. Peter Obi? What are they exactly loyal to? Who are they loyal to?
They are loyal to the messages that correct for good governance. And Peter Obi is championing that particular good governance.
Okay. So now we're seeing, it looks like the issue of Labour Party is an unending issue. Initially, we saw how Frontal, Apapa, Mr. Apapa, Mr. Rabambi were all in arms against Mr. Julius Abure. This took very long. We spoke to all parties, and now it has shifted gears to now Mr. Julius Abure joining forces with Mr. Rabambi and the rest of them against Peter Obi and the Obidient Movement. Where does this leave the Labour Party? Because the presidential candidate of that party, Mr. Peter Obi, says it's not going anywhere.
Exactly. Right from the beginning, what was the cause of the problem between Apapa group and Arabambi? It was clear. They came out and accused Abure of manipulation, forgery, and not responding to issue that was raised against him by some of our candidates in Ebonyi State. Meaning that they are asking for the right thing to be done. What they said was that the chairman should shift while they investigate the matter and ensure that if he's found culpable, Mr. Apapa will take over the leadership if the National Working Committee so appoints. That was the cause of the problem. So if that should be the issue, that means that they are asking for the procedures that was contained in the Constitution to be followed. Some of us came out and looked at the Constitution and say that sections of the Constitution alluded to the fact that even if you are to remove the chairman, it must be a constituted authority based on the chapters of the Constitution, which says that an election or removal of the chairman must be done by a national convention specifically called for that particular.
Oh dear. Well, we momentarily lost connection with Mr. Yunusa Tanko, but we'll get back to him to let's speak to these issues. It's a major one. Make or mar, call it that. Well, Mr. Tanko, I see you're back. Please go ahead.
Yes. So that was the position we took. So it is amazing now to see that that particular position of asking Mr. Abure to do the right thing and follow the procedures of the Constitution now have been buried under the carpet. And then I'm hearing that those who are agitating for the right thing to be done now are agitating and supporting some of the processes that was seen to be wrong, and then they are now together. It's fine and dandy. But the fact still remains that if the right thing has been done, if it has not been done, then we are back to square one. Then possibly there may be another interest behind it, rather than the interest of the party and the public in general. Probably with the due course we will come to know. But as far as we are concerned, His Excellency Peter Obi is still a member of the Labour Party. All he asks for is that the right procedures be done so that there will be an inclusive movement, an inclusive political party that everybody will be proud of. Simple and short.
So, Mr. Tanko, you said earlier that the Obidient Movement is bigger than the Labour Party. Is this by any chance, probably the reason that the regrouping that is responsible for the regrouping of the Arabambi, Apapa with Mr. Julius Aburi now? Perhaps they are worried about a possible hijack of the party and stemming from the initial position by the presidential candidate that if the leadership crisis is not resolved, he may leave the party.
I keep on wondering when people say hijack. As long as if I a card-carrying member of the party, you have every right to agitate and disagree and agree with any position that has been taken within the party. You have the right to vote and be voted for. So as long as you are a card-carrying member of the party, I don't see anybody hijacking anything. Because it is clear the constitution of the party gives you the modus operandi and how to operate within the structure of the party. I have been one of the advocates right from the beginning when I noticed that there has been a strong movement of individuals coming to join the party, that I asked them that if you are a group, you can join the party. If you join the party, you have a right to formulate issues that will be advantageous to the party right from the beginning. You cannot be outside the party and dictate to the party. It cannot work. So you have to be a member of the party.
All right.
As I said, the Obidient Movement can be found in every home, because every Nigerian that is demanding for good governance and the right thing to be done is categorized as obedient, because that's what it stands for, good governance.
All right. Dr. Tanko, we'll have to thank you so much. Just quickly on a final note, we have less than 30 seconds to close. If the Obidient Movement is bigger than Labour Party, does that imply that Mr. Peter Obi is also bigger than the Labour Party?
No. And Peter Obi is a loyal member of the Labour Party.
All right.
And at the same time, he is a strong leader of the Obidient Movement because he wants good governance for Nigeria. And it is his message that is carrying on the focal point of the Obidient Movement.
All right. Well, Dr. Yunusa Tanko, Chief Spokesperson, Obi-Datti Organization, we'll have to thank you so much for your time as well. And of course, we wish, Labour Party, Obidient Movement, but more importantly, Nigerians the very best. Thank you very much for your time. We'll take a moment now, and when we return, we'll turn our attention to the big day for the Super Eagles, the big day for Coach Finidi George later tonight, and we'll be joined by the spokesperson of the Super Eagles. So stay with us right here.